Hello, guys, and welcome to today's question and answers, where I'm joined by the Daine brothers, Gareth, Teddy. This is just a very, very small part of the Daine clan, but yeah, we're going to be doing question and answers. We'll just give it a couple of minutes for people to arrive. It's the first time that any of us have been on LinkedIn Live as well. I this morning woke up brothers and Gareth, Christmas. This is just a very... What the hell's that? I can hear feedback.
That was me testing it. Well, you're live on LinkedIn, don't worry.
Yeah. Right, no, that's cool. I was like, what the hell's that? But yeah, so woke up like a kid at Christmas this morning, like, yeah, it's got the Facebook Live, so let's give it a go and do some questions and answers for the next hour. So, guys, ping your questions and answers. We've got Gareth, who I'm sure many of you will know, who does development. He does client SEO. He does his affiliate or niche affiliate empires thing, where he's started from scratch and built up an affiliate empire, which took a bit of a slam with the affiliate, the crazy Amazon update. And Daine is a guy that does SEO, that works behind the scenes, that assists Gareth. So all the work that Gareth claims to do is probably actually done by Daine. So we probably want to forget about you, Gareth, and probably ask Terry the real questions.
You're probably not far off the truth there, mate, in reality.
Yeah. But we'll just, guys, put your questions in the chat and we'll just beast through as many as we can throughout the talk. But we've not got much there. But Craig Mullins, what are we using to go live on all different platforms at once? It is StreamYard.com. That allows you to set up to 5 different platforms, whether it be Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or whatever. And you can stream live here. But there is a tool called Restream.io, which you can do up to 30 platforms. And Gareth, you use what was that other one? Ecamm or something like that?
Yeah, well, I use Ecamm Live, which is an app on the Mac, but it connects to Restream. You can connect it to Restream and then stream to all the different platforms. It's pretty cool, isn't it, Ted?
It is indeed.
So yeah, hopefully that helps you, Mr. Mullins. Stream your face all over the place. We've got people watching, but I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions pouring in. So, guys, if your questions are SEO related, whether they are just asking about Gareth's bald head or whatever, we are welcoming any questions related to digital marketing. So, let's go. We've got one here. Keep the questions coming, though, guys. Is SEO working in Shopify dropshipping business? You guys, I don't really do Shopify dropshipping. Do you guys do anything like that?
No. We're looking to go into dropshipping. Obviously, you mentioned the Amazon commission slashes recently, which hit pretty much every affiliate was in the Amazon game pretty damn hard. Unless you were already in a category that was a low sort of tier commission and didn't change, you definitely got hit. So one of the things, and I'm sure we'll discuss it as we move along and in the show and have a chat about it, but one of the things we're looking at, although we're not diving in and making drastic changes immediately, one of the things we are looking at is possibly doing some drop shipping, combining it with the affiliate and doing drop shipping. But in terms of Shopify drop shipping, it's not something I'm experienced with. I'm not even experienced with Shopify, really. I've had a play about many years ago, but it's not really my kettle of fish. I don't think Terry is. I think Terry's in the same boat as well.
No, I'm not Shopify with.
Shopify's a great platform in terms of I know loads of guys who use Shopify as the back-end e-commerce functionality and just have a WordPress front end of the website because of the upsells and all the kind of good things that functionality-wise Shopify's got. But I think, as a platform, I wouldn't say it's the best in terms of SEO because you get limited access. And, if I want to run a business, I want to be able to go into the basement, so to speak, and be able to play around, clean up what I need to clean up, and manipulate things to the best of my ability. And with Shopify, you don't have access to the server or anything like that, so you are restricted in some ways in terms of what you can do. But I'm sure it's an improving platform, and dropshipping as a business model works very well. I know loads of guys that do dropshipping. They don't necessarily have to use Shopify. You can use WooCommerce, Magento, whatever, just somewhere to take the orders. And dropshipping is a great business model, and I think, as Gareth said, with the impending or the Amazon slashing the commissions, people are now looking at other ways of monetizing things online, and dropshipping, I think, will come back and probably play quite a big role in the future.
Yeah, definitely. One of the things we're sort of looking into is how best can we automate the dropshipping side of it as much as possible, because the last thing we want to be dealing with is, having to deal with multiple suppliers, back and forth emails, phone calls, and all the rest of it. And I know there's lots of integrations, particularly like in WordPress, probably in Shopify too, where you can integrate places like Alibaba and that. But you need to make sure that, like, in the niche that you've got, they've got decent products on there that you can go out and drop ship. But yeah, it's something we're looking into. Definitely want to get into it. I know you've done it in the past, Craig, as well. And you had some success with it and some failures as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes down to your research and getting the right product and the right dropshipper. You can all do SEO and rank a website. It's just making sure that the product's good, the price points are good, and certainly in terms of legality stuff. I started a dropshipping business around the e-cigs niche, and legally we couldn't do any paid search on Google AdWords or any kind of paid social. We could only take payments through PayPal, and the dropshipper was a pillow. So it was a guy making the shit in his fucking kitchen. We didn't know that at the time, but just sending out shitey stuff. So, there wasn't enough research done into the niche specifically, and it very quickly fell apart and we threw the towel in because it just wasn't well researched. It's not something I would condone, just to look at keyword search volume and decide that's a good niche.
Yeah, definitely.
That's exactly what I've done. But yeah, I've had successes with others, man. So yeah, get on the dropshipping.
Well, one of the things you mentioned to me one time about dropshipping was as well making sure that you're in a niche where the potential for lots and lots of returns of products is lower. Because I remember I think you mentioned the clothing niche and you were getting like loads of returns all the time. So you've got to factor those things in.
Yeah, so women's clothing was another niche, and my wife does it as well. So I'm not.
So does mine.
General, but my wife will buy 3 of the same top, and see which one fits her best, and then send 2 back. And she thinks that's okay to do it. Now, River Island or whatever she's buying from can take that hit probably, but as a small business, every time when I was trying to get high volume and low margins in terms of the profit that was on the products. Someone returning something was wiping out my profit. So selling women's clothing and, you're getting a 50% return rate, you're in fucking trouble. That's a surefire way to go and bankrupt. So sorry for all women, not against women in any way, but my wife does it as well. But yeah, fuck that for a carry on.
Someone in the comments on LinkedIn, Craig's mentioned that Orbello is a good automated fulfillment plugin for Shopify.
All right, cool. I'm not sure that's pulling through on here, so I'll have to keep an eye on LinkedIn for that. Hi. Akshat wants to know how to optimize content for voice search SEO.
Question-based queries, essentially, isn't it? And you've got to think about what would you do in your home. We've actually got loads of the devices now. We've got an Alexa here in the house. We've got an Alexa in the office. I think you've got an Alexa, Terry, have you? At home. Yeah, and I got sent a a free, believe it or not, Google Home for some reason. Google just emailed me, said, do you want a free Google Home? And I said, yeah, please. And they said that, and we use that quite a bit, and that switches the TV on, the Chromecast and everything. So it's not something I put a lot of thought and depth of thought into. Because I don't know if you've seen the same things, Craig and Ted, but for like the last 5 or 6 years, people have got beat on. This year's the year for voice search, and then the next year they say the same thing, and the next year they say the same thing, and nothing's really much has changed, obviously, other than the usage of it. But yeah, you're talking sort of answer-based queries, things that I would imagine would get into the featured snippets and things like that, list-based stuff. So yeah, that's how I would optimize it.
Yeah, I mean, Alida Solis over the years has spoken at many conferences about voice search and stuff, and she's probably the person in the industry that I know that has probably done the most research and implementation of it. But as Gareth says, well, I'm quite lazy when it comes to adopting to stuff. I'm just now starting to add schema and stuff like that. I think when's the right time to optimize for voice search? I don't feel it's right now. I think obviously you want to future-proof your business and maybe add some schema, do some FAQ schema, answer stuff, and stuff like that, and that will help you get some of these kind of results in voice search. But it's not a big thing for me just now, and people have been saying it's going to be the next big thing for the last few years. But as it stands, video and everything else is probably more important, and that's why I'm doing a big surge on pumping out stuff on YouTube and LinkedIn Live and whatnot, because that's going to get me more traction than optimizing for voice, because we don't know when that's going to have a big impact. So do what's working now. Next question, we'll give Terry this one. What is a 301 redirect and how to use this? Very basic question there, but we will answer it.
So a 301 redirect, essentially when you want to, when you've got an old article, best X for Y, and you buy another site, for example, and you want to combine those pages, and you essentially want to point the new site or similar article across to your new site in essence. So you can 301 a full, you can 301 a top level domain to a site and channel that link through to a new site, or you can do it individually, page by page. So for example, we have clients who come to us and we do it internally as well. If we acquire a site that's relevant and it's in the same niche as one of our projects, quite often what we'll do is we'll go through and we'll individually 301 each of the relevant pages where it's appropriate. And essentially all that does is not only redirect, as the name suggests, the traffic from that old article or page to your primary one, to your priority one, but it also as well channels that authority that's on that page and passes that juice through to your primary one.
Yeah, it's all about passing the juice from those pages that you've taken down or whatever you've done with them, and making sure that you pass it on to the next new URL or whatever it's going to be. So use them wisely. Facebook user, it doesn't give us your name. Apologies for that. But your take on KGR keywords for Amazon Associates?
I've heard loads of people saying really good. They have lots of success with them. Works really well. And then I've seen other people who I would probably say I respect a bit more in the industry, who've got a bit more experience and kill it a bit more, saying that KGR stuff is a load of old nonsense. So my opinion of is we don't do it. We don't look at KGR. And for those who don't know, KGR is keyword golden ratio. What was the name of the guy who created it? Do you remember, Craig?
No idea. I think it's a load of fucking bollocks anyway.
It's certainly not something we focus on. I think I haven't delved too deeply into it, so I couldn't really comment from my own personal perspective whether it's good or not. I think it was Doug Cunnington who created it. It might be Doug Cunnington, can't remember. But essentially the way it works, I think, is where you're looking at like specific volumes, search volumes with specific sets of competition, and then it works out this keyword golden ratio, and then you target them. They're supposed to be dead easy to rank for with just content and no links. May work, may not work, may be good for growing a site, maybe good for growing a big authority site. I just don't know. I've not personally tested it. We don't really follow that method.
How about we just go after the long tail keywords, what we all fucking call it? Why are we calling it this fucking golden ratio shit?
Because he's got a specific way of working out whether you should go for that keyword or not. It's like a little ratio or formula he uses. As I say, I haven't delved too deeply into it, but to me, it's not really something I was interested in, because the way we used to work when we were doing keyword research for Amazon sites and affiliate sites is we would pretty much follow the authority hacker method that they espouse, which was making sure that it was a search volume above X amount, say 100. It had a couple of affiliate sites of your sort of new affiliate sites below DR 25 ranking in the top 10 for the keyword. The competition wasn't crazy, and we sort of went down that route, but we changed our whole process on this to basically target everything, because what we discovered as we went through this process is even if you're going for those keywords and you have hit those specific criteria, you may spend 3, 4, 5 months in position 80 plus and never really get anywhere with it. Whereas like a bigger keyword that's like, shows up as something like, I don't know, 15K search volume with loads of high competition, suddenly, boom, you're on page 1. And it's like, well, we sort of came to the conclusion is just go for everything. Pump the content out, do the link building, and then just see what is working from that perspective. Obviously target all the long tails, all the variations, all the head terms you want to go for your money pages, and also include like the lower competition keywords in as well, and just see what works, and then focus your attention on the ones that seem to be winning. That was our approach, wasn't it, Teddy?
That works better though, doesn't it, when you've got the resource available to just pump out the content? So
Exactly.
So you've got limited time or resource to then target it. You've got to start thinking then, look, what's going to get the biggest ROI? But generally, I mean, there's best practices and standards everyone adheres to, ourselves included. But like Gareth said there, it can be so random sometimes that you just don't expect it. You end up going for it. Well, that's a decent article, so we'll just do it anyway and just leave it there maturing, and then before you know it, that's ranking higher than some of your long tails, and you're like, well, happy days.
Yeah, exactly. What are your thoughts, Craig, on that?
Listen, it's I think it's just pretty much the same as you guys. Listen, we've all got our own way of doing things, and we've all got our own processes and shit like that, and what works for you. People, because what Gareth's process and your updated process is doesn't mean that full process is right. You could probably pick holes in anyone's process, so to speak. Yeah. 3 parts of their process might be absolute donkey shit, but they believe it works. Just let them crack on with it, because at the end, if they get the end result and they're making money, who cares whether they're, whether part of that process is buying some social signals and people say they don't work or whatever, who cares? So I think, everyone's just got to try their own shit out, do their own, have their own, whether you think the keywords golden ratio is a thing or not, try it out. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing it, but again, don't think that there's some special formula this guy's using either. Just try shit yourself. And for me, I think my approach is more gung-ho with everything I do in life anyway. Just go all out attack and see what sticks. And that's just the kind of crazy guy I am. I don't want to fuck about ratios, man. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Single product. Are you your yen on the go there, guys?
Who's got the jingle bells on?
It's my daughter, Eva. Shut the window, please. We're live on a call here. In.
I think a prime example was when we started introducing single product, templates. But one of the big driving factors around us introducing those single product templates was because we were focusing on roundup best X or Y type reviews, and some of the products. Basically, we were essentially basing our product selection on things like product value, how much it's worth, what category is it in. Obviously, that would be within our niche. Reviews on Amazon, general reviews around the web. So decent products that people wanted to buy. And we didn't really pay any attention to whether these individual products had brand searches. And it turns out that a lot of the analytics tools we were using said they didn't anyway. But what we were finding once those posts matured, the roundup posts, and more importantly, the single posts that were produced off the back of the roundup posts, we were finding that the tools were saying these are driving nothing a month, and we were getting impressions, clicks, and even sales from them as well. So it just shows that take the data with a pinch of salt, I think, and going home method, like you say, Craig, is the way forward, I think.
Yeah.
I think you've got to do it.
But we'll move on to the next question anyway. Enough about keyword golden ratio. We'll go on to chargebacks in my dropshipping biz. So Craig Mullins is saying he's had a huge problem with that stuff. Unless they wire money, my son's flashing things in there and wrecking the place. Apologies. Unless they wire money or use crypto, I don't do it anymore. You guys ever find that that's been a problem with anything you've done, chargebacks and whatnot?
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, we've had several discussions on it, and we've had it's been quite frustrating sometimes as well, because as you mentioned at the beginning, we do it a lot of internal projects, but we also do client work as well. And we run several different services, and the affiliate side of things, you don't have to worry about chargebacks or anything like that, because obviously it's all run through whatever affiliate program you're dealing with, and the returns and chargebacks are all dealt with by them. But as a client-facing business, we used to invoice people every month on retainer, and we just found that it was a bit of a nightmare. So we switched over to installing WooCommerce on the site, and then hooking in Stripe, and getting all the clients to pay by credit card, etc. I think we had in total over the whole first year of Daine Media 2 chargebacks, and that was on a service we initially ran. We spoke about it in your initial podcast, Craig, which was to do with the shotgun skyscraper link building. We canned it in the end because the ROI on it just wasn't there, and we're not about ripping people off, and people weren't getting the results and stuff. But even though we did the work and we fulfilled the outreach side of it, we had 2 chargebacks during that period, and that has affected our Stripe account, even though there was only 2 of them. So Stripe will now put like some reserves on our monthly money in the Stripe account to cover any future things, even though the last one was like 6 months ago. They're still doing it. So it can be really, really frustrating, because it can negatively affect your business.
A disproportionate amount, the whole.
It is disproportionate, yeah.
You're talking, not an insignificant amount. To the point where we've had to contact them and say, look, on a couple of occasions, this isn't on, you know what I mean? We're a business, and cash flow is obviously important. You're holding, X amount of thousand in reserve for, 200 on 2 separate occasions. So it's got its downsides, but generally speaking, it does beat the invasion method, I think.
Yeah.
I'm going off on a bit of a tangent here in terms of drop shipping, but so in general, just one of them things I think you've got to take if you're running a payment process online. Online.
Yeah, I've had it as well with selling courses on Black Friday, and people buy the course, they fucking do the course, read all your information, download everything, and then do a chargeback saying that course is shit. And you're like, my course is dog shit. Or they're saying it's too basic for me. And I'm like, well, if that's fucking basic, then I'm in the wrong game, because I've worked hard and tried to deliver the best of my ability. But I think people in general are just bastards out there and look for any exploitation they can do in terms of doing chargebacks and stuff like that. I'm not saying everyone is, but small proportion of people are out there who do this stuff. They must do it professionally or for a living because they seem to know how to get away with it. And
Definitely.
the businesses don't get support they deserve on that, which is unfortunate, but you've got to suck it up. I know other guys like Gary Wilson in his links business, he said certain people hold money back and you know, shit like that, saying, oh, this is going to take 3 months before we release it. And
yeah, it's horrendous.
You know, the cash flow side of your business, you're trying to earn a living and you know, you've got staff to pay and overhead, invoices to pay for vendors, whatever. You're being shafted by these payment people. So I don't think a lot of common sense goes on there. Clearly, guys that have never run a business before making those decisions to hold back money that's not theirs. But what can you do?
Not much, really. The annoying thing with the chargebacks as well, which I've found, is like for insignificant amounts, and then they don't contact you first for a refund, but they just charge back, and it's like you could have got in touch. You know what I mean? But it's one of them things.
It's a people problem, I think. But next question from Mohammed Irfan. What type of content should be published on a fashion blog based in AdSense?
Fashion content is probably where you want to start. I mean, don't start writing content about tents on a fashion blog. But I think what you mean is like, should it be like commercial focused or informational focused? You probably want to clarify that, Mohammed. But if it is solely based on AdSense and ad revenue, obviously you're going to want to pump out a ton of informational content. So you want to look at all of the queries people are typing in. Google suggest related keywords, question-based keywords that you can get from Ahrefs and SEMrush that they're asking about fashion-related topics, and just start pumping out content on that. And the more content you have, make sure it's quality, obviously valuable, answers the search intent and all the rest of the jazz. But the more content you have on that stuff, and obviously the more links you build to it, obviously the more traffic you're going to get and more AdSense revenue. But is AdSense even viable nowadays? Even since the commission slashes, is it worth it? It would be my...
Unless you're getting serious fucking volume, which is just outrageous. Like, I think my YouTube videos in the last month had, I think it was 400,000 views, and I think I made $91. So the commissions are very, very small, and obviously for me, even to make a basic wage of something like $2,000 a month, I would probably have to have 3 million views a month. I'd have to be pumping out, you know, all sorts of stuff, and I'm assuming that the figures are probably similar on AdSense on a website than they are on YouTube ads and whatnot. So.
And if you had that sort of volume to even hit that, you would probably move to something like Mediavine or even a Zoic or something like that, where you'd had a better RPM and even into affiliate and drop shipping. I mean, to me, that I wouldn't even focus on AdSense. But in terms of the question, I mean, I'm not hugely experienced on it. Maybe there's a way to kill it with AdSense, but not that I've heard of.
Wow.
So
I think people used to kill it in AdSense when they were using bots and all sorts of fuckery. It's the only way you can make money, unless you are obviously Neil Patel or something, where your posts are getting, you know, thousands and thousands of people smashing them every hour, and you may have a chance. But anyway, Zahir Hussein, hi Craig and other fellows. I'm in search of niche for affiliate marketing. I'm thinking of shoes. But is it a good idea during COVID-19? Well, I don't think COVID-19 allows people to walk about in their bare feet. Listen, shoes is something every human being needs to wear. And it's certainly a very well-researched industry, but shoes is a bit, you know, bland. You know, is it going to be women's high heels? Is it like Gareth wears, or, you know, or I think you need to kind of niche down into it, whether it be running shoes or sports shoes or, whatever. I think, shoes in general is very, very vague for affiliate marketing. But again, I wouldn't worry about COVID-19 as such. I think, I'm not a health expert or whatever, but one day we will come out of this and people will be buying online again. So I wouldn't be allowing COVID-19 to put me off a niche for sure. What about your thoughts, Terry?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. It depends how you've come up with the idea of shoes. To be honest, but I would base a niche off the research. You know what I mean? Is it competitive? Like Craig said before, are these items liable to be sent back regularly? Are they high ticket items? What's your commission going to be? If it's through Amazon, maybe not a niche niche, but if it is, what category is it in? What's your commission rate going to look like? You need to factor in all these types of things before you go into selection and niche really. But in terms of, unless the shoes are made in China, which could be an issue, the only way I can see this related to COVID is the worldwide sort of transportation issues at the minute. So like shipping delays, but that's across the board, not just relevant to shoes. So I can't see any reason why COVID would affect shoes in particular. But if you've done your research and you're interested in the niche, then if it's viable, then I don't see why not.
Gareth, anything to add to that?
Not really. I think you've pretty much said it all. I mean, shoes is a massive market. If you're just going for shoes, you're talking it's huge, multi-billion-dollar industry. There's certainly money to be made cutting your slice of the pie out of there. So in terms of competition, I've never been worried about competition-wise. In fact, the more competition in an industry, the better, because it means there's money to be made there. In terms of COVID-19 shoes, as Terry said, it's across the board on a lot of things. Searching habits have definitely changed, though, in terms of what people are searching for and looking to purchase online. Is shoes one of them? I've got no data on it, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But shoes as a niche overall is probably good. But as Craig said, definitely think of an angle and try and sort of niche down. And could these be, collectors edition shoes which are really high ticket, less likely to be sent back perhaps because once someone's got a collector's pair, limited edition Nike or whatever, they're going to keep them. Some people might even keep them in a display cabinet. People are strange like that. So yeah, it's probably a good niche, but as Terry said, do your research, it's key.
Cool. And the same guy again is here. Can we use Amazon's product video on my affiliate website on social media ads and stuff like that for affiliate marketing?
I don't believe so. No, not the only stuff like that you can use is if it's pulled via the API. And off the top of my head, I don't know if you can pull video through. I've recently just built a custom integration into Amazon's API, but I haven't looked into video. If you can pull it through via the API, then yeah, I don't think you can just literally copy it off the site or download it off the site and upload it. I don't think they allow that. It's against the operating agreement. But again, there's probably loads of people who do it and get away with it.
Yeah, try it and see what happens. Don't. Ray Collier, I recognise your name, comes to several different things I do. And can we use SEO links directly for product launch affiliate website? I want to get ranked in 10 days. I'm pretty sure Ray asked this, not this specific question, but always asks about SEO links.
Do you want to explain what SEO links are for people who might not know?
So, for anyone who doesn't know, SEO links are basically hacked links that are injected onto websites by our fellow Russian friends who are really good at this type of thing. And you can basically pick your niche, and they will come up with a link for you by hook or by crook, essentially. But more likely, it's the crooked way. And they're basically just hacking websites, placing links. Now, can you point them to your money website? You probably could on a small scale, and there'll not be any damage. But if someone catches a hacked link in a website and it points direct to your money website, the first phone call is coming to you. If the guy's an aggressive SEO or whatever, the first negative SEO attack is coming to your money website. You're opening yourself up, and I believe it's also, I'm not a lawyer by any stretch of the imagination, but you're basically saying, hey, I've hacked your website and pointed a link here. So you are also saying, come and get me. I hack websites, and I'm quite happy to make money through that type of practice. So for those reasons, that's why people don't point them direct to a product website, because there's so many things that can go wrong and so many fingers that can be pointed at you because you're buying them. Now, you could palm it off and say, oh, I didn't know, I thought it was a guest post or whatever. But just be careful, because it's, your money website is something you want to have some longevity with. You've obviously said there as well, I just want to get ranked for 7 to 10 days max. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say you can or can't get ranked in 7 to 10 days. It really goes down to the niche and everything else. If it's a churn and burn website and you're not giving a shit and you only need 7 to 10 days, then of course using an all-out black hat aggressive strategy can work. I've seen it work very well in a lot of different industries, but it will obviously tumble. There's no way we can specify it will last for 10 days or not. That really comes down to Google hoping that people don't report you and various other factors. But in that instance, if you wanted a quick result, then safe links might be the answer for you. But I would always be wary. What are you guys saying to that?
I think what he's asking there specifically, I think, is to do with product launches and launch jacking, perhaps. Possibly to do with maybe launches that happen on JVZoo, Warrior Plus, or places like that, and literally ranking for that product name's primary keyword as quickly as possible for that 7 to 10 day launch window. And then once the launch is closed, it doesn't fucking matter anymore, you know what I mean? So in that respect, I don't get involved in this stuff with SEO links and stuff. I've no experience in it, but I suspect if that's what you wanted to do, then yeah, you probably could smash it with those links. Have be number one for that launch for that specific product keyword after 10 days, bin it. But be very, very careful, as Craig said, in case anyone points the finger at you and can find you, old Ray.
So, wait, Terry, do you play with SEO links at all?
No, as Gareth said, anything, and yourself as well, anything we do, really, we want it to be long-term sustainable assets, you know what I mean? We're growing a business in and of itself, so we don't really get into anything this sort of dodgy. But the fact of the matter is, links work. So if you just want to rank a website, links work. However you're going to get them, they work. I'm not advocating going and doing it, and how long those links take to have an effect, and whether that's before you get penalised or reported or whatever that may be. God only knows. But if you want to rank, links work.
Yeah, no, good answer. Ariane, my question is that, sir, the revolution of the internet in India, which came in 2016, has increased the number of users in 2020 in comparison to 2016. The internet is new for us. According to this, what do you think about the growth of digital marketing?
Terry, do you want to take that one?
Yeah.
Well, with anything, again, I'll relate it to the current shitstorm that everyone's suffering through COVID. With anything catastrophic or with any new revolution or whatever it may be, there's always opportunity there. The financial crash of 2008, there's opportunity. There's a lot of shit going down and people suffering, but opportunity can be made, as will be COVID. I read something the other day, or watched something rather, where a gin distillery essentially had their revenue cut to zero overnight because of COVID. They had all the alcohol there, so they just started manufacturing hand gel instead, and now they'll probably never go back because there's so much money. So I don't know about this digital revolution in India that you're talking about, but if in any new or growing market, there's opportunity there. So what do you think about the growth of digital marketing? It's probably there, and there's probably a shitload of opportunity. So, get in there early and start doing things right. That's all I would say, I suppose.
Yeah.
I can only put it down to, from my point of view, obviously I'm not in India and I don't understand the how it's having an impact. But, I grew up, I'm 40 now, and just a couple of years younger than Gareth. And I grew up in a period where we didn't have mobile phones, didn't have the internet or nothing. And when I was able to even, at 17 or 18, whenever I got dial-up connection in the house, which would have been 1998 or 1997, which is when all this shit was kicking off here in the UK, it was mind-blowing. I was like, fuck, I can look at it on Google Earth. Oh, I can talk to a girl on MSN and chat her up with sleazy lines. But then before you know it, you become passionate about the internet, and then it becomes your full-time job. Do you know what I mean? And it'll probably be the same for Terry or Gareth.
Exactly the same.
Shit dead-end job somewhere, fucking around, and thought, digital marketing, there's opportunities here to make money, regardless of what angle you come at, whether you're social media, whether you're good at content, or whether, you just want to invest money. Guys with money can invest in digital marketing and just make more money. So there's so many angles you can make money, and obviously that's something that has continued to grow since, I came out of school and didn't really know what direction I was going in, and I became enthusiastic about the internet. I was just lucky with time, but you guys now are doing training, and the where you can end up in terms of earnings and career opportunities and everything else. You could move to America and work for a big agency. You could, really make a lot of money through digital businesses. So there is nothing to stop you. And I think you guys are obviously, the internet's in its infancy, and you will be like I was as a young kid, coming up with crazy ideas. I could do this, and this. And yeah, you just got to take it in the chin and embrace it and play around and see where you go. And Gareth himself has been a developer, SEO guy. He's on podcasts. He's trying everything he can to make money. No, but it's true. You're a developer turned SEO, going building an agency, doing podcasts, fucking affiliate marketing. There's so many different revenue streams.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's great. It's a great thing where you're able to have your brother or brothers join your team as well, make a family business out of it. That's an opportunity that can come from the digital marketing industry. And even just building up a small family business to give you guys a closer relationship, or a work-life balance where you could work 3 days a week and make enough money for your whole family, and piss about bringing up kids or whatever it might be. There's so many options available. So that's my take on it.
Murder each other in massive arguments.
You haven't been in our office, mate.
Yeah. Listen, I can imagine the brothers who can do the smelliest shit and stuff like that as well. No, but yeah, I can imagine a few rollickings and a few guys rolling about in the floor in there as well. All part of the fun and games.
Yeah, indeed.
Next one, Terry, are you Gareth's real brother? Or thank you, whoever said that. Why, Gary?
I am
because of the slaphead.
Jesus, right. Well, Mohammed, we'll touch on this quickly because it's just one of those crappy questions. Tell us some SEO techniques which are free, such as profile links and blog comments. SEO is not for free. Everything comes with a cost. Gareth or Terry, do you want to tell this guy if there is any free tips that you know of?
There's lots of free knowledge out there. There's lots of free ways to learn, whether you're getting the right information. and you're collating it in the right way is another matter altogether. It all comes down to action and implementation at the end of the day. And listen, nothing's for free, mate. You know, it's the second law of thermodynamics, or the third law, or one of them. You know what I mean? You've got to put energy in to get something out of it. So it's anything that's easy to do and free and simple and quick generally isn't worth doing, because it doesn't have much of an effect. Blog comments, profile links, I think they died about 10 years ago, didn't they? It's one of them. It's one of them things. I don't mean to be facetious about it or in any way or shoot you down, but in terms of blog comments, if you're jumping on, if you're trying to build like an authority site and a brand, if you're jumping on niche-related blogs and networking with people and leaving comments on blogs and getting known in the community, that's a useful, probably a useful thing to do. But you've got to work out, is that worth it in terms of ROI? How long is it going to take? What am I going to get from it at the end of it? But in terms of just for links and spamming sites with links, I doubt it's going to have much of an effect, to be perfectly honest. So as Craig said, everything, there's a cost to everything. So
there is a cost to everything, because your time, your time is money. So if you're spending your time on something, it may have been better used doing something else. But if you're talking specifically in terms of monetary costs, so again, in this situation what we're in now, there's a shitload of people furloughed. Probably there's some people working from home, but loads of people who've got time on their hands. Again, time isn't free, but there are things that you can do with very, very minimal monetary cost involved to start making things happen. So, for example, just fucking starting and just finding information online and starting your niche research on that site you've been wanting to build for the past 12 months, doing your keyword research. All of that is free in terms of it doesn't cost you anything. You go away and write your own blog content, make sure it's quality, but go away and write decent targeted content based on your research. Get your site up. There'll be cost involved, but it's minimal, talking hosting, email, stuff like that. And then even outreach. Look, I mean, it's no surprise. Links predominantly nowadays have a cost associated to them. But you can absolutely do outreach and still obtain free links. You just get a hell of a lot less of them, and it probably takes a lot longer to get the same. Well, it definitely takes a lot longer to get the same amount, but you can still do it. So if you're talking in terms of monetary value, research, content, and links, and it's going to take your time, but you can do it on a shoestring if you have to.
Yeah, spot on.
Next one, Supercar Savers. Good to see you again here, buddy. Having used Tapes in the past significantly, most sites are on there now are junk, old, low to no traffic. Even high DR ones are legacy 1990 style, usually with little traffic. Not worth the risk. Facebook ads are better. Now, that's also something that, it's not a question, but, I certainly look for websites that are powerful, but also get traffic and stuff like that as well. I do feel important to move the needle more. And yeah, so you guys agree with that? Yeah.
Yeah. 100%, yeah, 100%. Got to have real traffic, and the best link is not just real traffic, but traffic that is likely to be passed over via referral is usually the best. If you can get a link in a super relevant post that's got lots of traffic and engagement on it, and are people likely to click your link to go through to your site, that's probably one of the best links you can get. Craig, are you keeping an eye on the old comments on LinkedIn as well?
Yeah. We'll get to them. Elon Musa, I heard you say yesterday that Google is different and more strict in the US and UK, and in comparison with some other countries. Any tips that might work in some of these other countries? So that conversation was me talking about how spam still works in areas like Greece, firing up some Web 2.0s, doing a GSA blast and stuff like that can rank you in certain countries out there. Poland, Greece, Italy, spam, all that still works. The I'm talking about SEO from 10 years ago, SEO, SE Nuke and all that shit, like Rumor, all of that stuff is what people in these countries are using to rank, and they're not even doing it that well. So doing the bare basics right, you're likely to get traction in those countries. So have you guys ever seen anything like that, or do you play around with other country stuff?
I've not personally done it, no.
But it makes sense that, the algorithm is going to keep pace with, the environment in which people are using it. So, it's going to be an industry standard, isn't it? There's going to be some. Again, I've not got much experience in it, but presumably, Craig, global terms such as your digital marketing type terms, you're gonna get global results coming through for that, regardless of where you're searching on. Are you talking specifically about what you're talking, nation specific type searches?
Like plumbers in Athens and shit like that. So like, in Greece, I know a guy, Elias from SEO Autopilot, who can rank on that with one blast of SEO Autopilot, within 7 to 8 days. So it's like the SEO of old, where literally it's not for nationwide or international phrases or anything like that, just shitty, search terms within that country. Even things like payday loans in Athens and stuff, whatever, goes on out there. The level of SEO competition is pretty much zero. And these guys don't even know what SEO is. They're just so far behind the times. And the same is, sadly, across a lot of these other European countries as well. They're not doing aggressive link building. They're not doing guest posting. They're not doing anything. Your competition are just doing shitty directory listings. So I think in any of these countries, what's happening, I mean, regardless of where you are, we have to beat the competition. If the Daine brothers build 100 links, I need to build 150 links to beat them, as well as all the other stuff and the content and, everything else. You can only really outdo what's in front of you. And it would appear that in a lot of these countries that there isn't much in front of you from taking those positions. And that's why a lot of guys are going after the Scandinavian market and stuff like that as well, because it's untapped. We all become obsessed with the UK. 62 million people in the UK, or thereabouts. I'm not sure the exact figure. There's 85 million people in Germany. So why does no one ever, go after these other countries? Because we're all obsessed with the UK, and we think this is the biggest and the best country in the world and all that stuff. There's a hell of a lot more money to be made in America, and there's as much money to be made in Germany, Sweden, Denmark, and Bulgaria, Romania. All of these countries all have people who are all got money, who all buy shit. So, ignore it at your peril. We as a nation have become really focused and really probably up there alongside the Americans in terms of digital marketing development. Areas like India have only had the internet since 2016. And some of these other countries have maybe not had the internet, or maybe not had the education in terms of digital marketing that maybe we've been accustomed to here in the UK. And we're probably ignorant of that as well. But for anyone out there, give it a bash and you'll see it's a hell of a lot easier than fighting, all of the monsters that are in the UK trying to fight to be the top, top whatever it is, whatever niche it is. So,
and I suppose if you're going into those markets as well, and I know from anecdotal evidence from other people who do, that it's much easier to kill it in those markets. And if you've got the ability and competitive edge to compete in markets like the UK and the US, if you take those tactics over to the countries where Craig said they're doing SEO from 10 years ago, you'll smash them out the water and probably stay there for the longest as well, I would suspect. So it's definitely interesting to go into those markets. One of the key problems, though, is you're probably going to have to go about outsourcing to specific writers who are from those areas, and getting some sort of process in place and team in order to do that, because, I ain't writing content in German, let's just say that.
I wouldn't be having it either. So we have 5 or 6 more minutes left. Guys, if you can leave a like, regardless of where you're watching this, Facebook, YouTube, or whatever else, please do like, just so we get a feel for whether these videos are actually beneficial for the audience. So always give us a plus, a thumbs up. But we'll crack through the last bunch of questions. Where do you guys see the industry going post-COVID, up or down, and why?
Up. Massively up, because people's searching habits have changed. And I know we're currently in a pandemic. There's a lot of people at home and they're searching from home, etc. But people are learning a lot of lessons from this. And I think personally, and obviously this is just pure assumption, conjecture, we don't know until it happens, but I think this is going to change the way society functions in many areas to a large degree. Yes, things are going to be lifted eventually. Yes, we're going to be going back out the pub and getting drunk. Yes, we're going to do all those things we previously enjoyed, but people who perhaps really didn't get involved with the internet much have now started using it a lot more, for example. And you can see in terms of like the searches that are being done in specific niches, like it's skyrocketed. And I think particularly e-com and things like that are gonna be big and stay big and get well. It's good. The industry itself anyway before COVID was growing, so I think it's just going to get even bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot more companies are going to go online. They're going to look at this and go, hang on a minute, when COVID hit, we just barely survived there. We didn't even have a website. But since COVID hit, we've knuckled down. We've got a website live. We've got a shopping cart there now. You know what I mean? And we managed to get by. Let's invest heavily in e-com. Let's invest heavily in the web. And I think more businesses are going to do it. And I can only see it growing personally.
I would agree with that. I think shops and everything now are saying, like, shops in my local area just go online and buy just now. Obviously pubs and whatnot, and Greg's the bakers and shit, you can't. But in general, I think people will now realise you do not need an old-fashioned shop in the high street to make money. And maybe those overheads and working from home does allow them that ability. And I know guys in the digital marketing industry who are now considering just giving up office space and stuff because they feel that remote working can work, and they've used this experience with COVID as a, it's just been forced upon them, and they've went, fuck, this can actually work well. I'm quite enjoying working from home. I'm getting more done. I'm more productive. I don't have to travel into London every day or whatever your things might be. So yeah, it's I think it will massively improve. It always was going to improve anyway, but I think it's only going to go bigger yet again because of the ability to do good things online and make money without crazy overheads and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, undoubtedly, everyone's been hit by this. Any brick and mortar based business has been hit by these. Even if it's not COVID, it's the social distancing sort of stuff that's come as a consequence of it. So they're all probably, or 90% of them, the ones that really aren't smart, are probably going, albeit out of necessity, probably pulling back their budgets. What's the first thing, or one of the first things to go? We need to pull in the strings and tighten it here, because cash flow is obviously important. As soon as this is over to some degree, and it probably happens slowly over time, those restrictions start easing. All these companies that once pulled back their budgets are going to once again go, we need to get back into this year, or we're going to lose that top spot or that top 3 position or whatever to the competition who are also going to reinvest. So
yeah, definitely.
And freelancers and marketing in general will also pick up in that way as well, I think.
Interesting thoughts. Fiona Cosman, I think you guys are awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
About me and not any of the other guys.
I think you're awesome, Fiona, too.
Fiona is interviewing for a digital marketing company tomorrow. It's not been her full-time thing, and wonders if you've got any thoughts this year. So I'm assuming, I don't know Fiona personally, she might be from your group of friends, Gareth, I'm not sure, but it sounds like someone part-time, been doing SEO as a hobby, maybe going to jump in and do a full-time interview, what would you advise?
Just be super enthusiastic, and one thing above all is be like hugely willing to learn as much as possible, and just do as much as possible and help out as much as possible, and you'll fly.
I would always say to people like Fiona, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people over my time, and one thing I would say is do not blag it. It's not one of those industries where it's
very important.
It's not uncool to say, guys, I've not used that tool before, but I really love the SEO and stuff like that. So don't blag it. It's not one of those. I think being honest and direct, and also what I would say is I've had people come to me for interviews and they've actually not told me certain things. So I had a girl who came to me recently, I'd say recently, about 18 months ago, and it was for a content writer position. And she just had her stuff down in her CV, and she worked in the Odeon cinema before that and various other things. Now, when she actually started, so I picked this girl, she started, and she had been to college, university, to do videography and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, why the fuck did you not tell me that at the interview? Because I need videographers. That would have sealed the deal for you there and then, 100% on the job. I may have selected someone else based on content. So tell people what you actually have in your locker. If you're good at videos as well, if you're good on social media, people are always wanting this stuff. And sometimes people don't want to mention it or whatever, they may, just want to mention the last couple of jobs or whatever. But, don't hold anything back as well, because when I'm interviewing someone for digital, I'm looking, can I get this person to do one or two things or two or three things, not just a content writer, because that's kind of people I'm looking for. But hunger and enthusiasm is the biggest thing I'm looking for. Everything else.
And personality as well. Obviously, you're not going to be able to. If you're a boring person and you really don't get on with people, and you got bad BO and stuff like, no, you're not going to be able to change much of that except maybe get a wash. But if you have got a good personality and you're bubbly and you're enthusiastic and stuff like that, that's what people want. They want that because that passion behind it, because you can teach skills. And you can teach people how to use tools, and you can teach people how to do processes, but you can't teach good mind. Well, you to a degree, I suppose you can teach good mindset, but it's a lot more difficult to teach that. So if we would probably go with someone who's going to fit well in the team and who's got a good. Even if they've got no experience, but they're really enthusiastic and raring to go and want to learn loads and is happy to muck in and help out and get things done. Terry does pretty much all of the sort of interviewing and resource and stuff for Daine Media, so he'll be able to give a bit more insight into that.
Well, I'm conscious on time. I just sort of echo what the guys said, really. Do your research into the company. It's such a basic thing. And I'm not saying founded and whatever, but I'm saying do your research. What us, Daine Media, we're a content marketing heavy type. We're more content marketing heavy with feel that technical on page, all that stuff bolted onto it. Whereas other agencies might be more tech heavy, where they do writing, etc. Just do your research and know what the company is about. Passion is a big one. If I sit there across the table with someone and think, and this has happened on a number of occasions when we've recruited in the past, they've got a lot more experience and cheap technical knowledge. But this girl or this lad here is enthusiastic as fuck. Said he wants to be with us for the next 10 years. He wants to learn. He's been following us in Mythical Empires. He's blah blah blah. He's done his research. He's getting the job, 100% all the time, hands down. So, passion's a big one. Be passionate. Do your research.
Yeah.
Cool. One last thing I'm going to do just to advise this guy, and then we will wrap up. What is my business model? I do training, affiliate, and try and steer well away from fucking clients as I can. Been there, done it, interviewed people, had an agency, done all that fucking about stuff, didn't like, managing people, didn't like dealing with clients, didn't like reporting and sucking eggs to get an invoice paid, and decided to try and do something that made me a bit less stressed, to be honest. So that is my business model. If you're interested in that, everyone's got their own business model. Comes down to temperament, the people you trust. Obviously, Gareth's got his bloody 10 brothers or whatever it is. So obviously the Danes can trust each other. I don't have any brothers, so I wasn't fortunate enough to be able to do that. But I think with a business model, it really comes down to what assets you've got, Gareth. And the Daine brothers are in a fortunate position where they trust each other and want the same goals, so they can, they're not going to fuck each other over, so they can probably scale an agency. Whereas, I was scaling an agency, didn't really trust anyone, couldn't find anyone that was wanting to work for a reasonable price. They were either, dumb and, weren't capable of doing anything, or they had some by ego and wanted more than I could afford to pay. So I think that's where Gareth is potentially in a fortunate position to do the agency model. But again, it comes down to temperament. I just didn't like it. It was not for me personally, because I'm a loose cannon, and probably not a guy who should be a CEO of a company. I'm just an SEO guy. Not the kind of business and mild-mannered guy in the background. That's not me. I'm, shoot from the hip, and possibly a flaw in my makeup, but I've got to work around that. And affiliate and keeping out the road of people seems to be working well for me. So hopefully that answers that, and obviously gives you a bit of insight into the Danes. And for anyone listening, I'll probably get the Danes back in future. We'll do some Facebook Lives, especially while we're in lockdown and stuff. We can do some of this kind of stuff. And it's, again, I don't like doing it always myself. It's good to have other guys to give opinions. They're doing different work from me and vice versa. So we've all got stories to share. But if anyone does like you guys, I'm not sure there's going to be many, but where's the best place to get a hold of you?
Well, best places, there's two best places. If they join the group, Niche Affiliate Empires on Facebook, or they head to Daine Media, dainemedia.com, DAINE media.com. Also, Daine links. No, that's not up. Also, if you go to nicheaffiliateempires.com as well, that's probably the best way to get through to the group. See, we didn't really speak about it, but we got a public case study and stuff on affiliate and stuff. So jump there and have a look. But Craig, thank you for having us on, mate. Really appreciate it, and we'd love to do it again.
Don't run away yet. I've got one last question.
Okay.
Well, two questions. Who's the real boss in Daine Media?
Yeah, definitely.
So,
no, it's you know what, mate? It's a well, I say even all of them, mate. Joe, Jack, Roy, they all deserve a shout out, and even the other guys as well, the whole team, because Jack and Roy come on, officially in terms of full time before I did. I was in a corporate and health and safety job before this, would you believe it? I was in the Marine, so I mean it's pretty varied, but the guys are just smashing it, and generally everything's done on the side note, and we generally just find the consensus.
Right. I knew you were going to dodge it, right? So
but in reality, it's me.
Right. So I was going to, the second backup question was, who's the best looking Daine?
Well, again, me, clearly.
Nah, it's been a pleasure, guys.
All over there.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Appreciate it, man.
The Daine Media office, get a punch up tomorrow. But no, it's been a pleasure, guys, and hopefully we can do this again in the very near future.
100%, mate.
Cool. So thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, guys.